Hello there, you're watching the daily edition of Your Trades on ET Now. This is Priyanka along with me, Sneha. Next 20 minutes, we set you up for the next day. We get you the major highlights of the day, the corporate action, the buzzing stocks, and of course, the entire stocks which were buzzing in trade today. First, let's talk about the index. 12th consecutive day, and we are here again, closing in green. We opened with a record level, gains led by majorly by FMCG. Pharma did slip later, but then it was also contributing earlier. Consumption and to some extent IT stocks also. Bank stocks, we had a split kind of view for banks today. PSU banks were performing, private banks were dragger, and that to be, now the Bank Nifty is trading nearly 50 DMA. What if it crosses 50 DMA? There could be a fresh trigger for a fresh rally for banking stocks. But right now, banking stocks, they started to drag once they opened, and later after 1 p.m. we could saw some kind of buzz or some kind of movement in banking stocks. However, heavyweights like ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, they did not perform. But stocks like PSU banks like SBI Bank, BOB, Canara Bank, they were up in action today. Broader markets did not participate much today. In fact, it was underperforming the benchmark, and so was the advanced decline ratio also if you see the broader markets. But a lot of action in large cap stocks, especially led by Bajaj Twins. Top gainers on Nifty was Bajaj Twins only, and Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv, both the stocks, they gained nearly 5%. And as we know that Bajaj Housing Finance, they have set their mega date for the IPO, and that's what kept the stocks, the momentum in these stocks from many days now. Second set of stocks, we saw the Gujarat-based gas distribution company, especially Gujarat Gas, GSPL. They were all skyrocketed. They skyrocketed today because, of course, the Gujarat Gas business restructuring news which came in, and of course, the kind of entire holding company structure will get simplified. It will be a value unlocking deal for shareholders. That's what the broking notes also came up with positive views. However, the targets have not been set that high, but the entire deal, the entire restructuring has been called as a EPS accretive for now. Some notes on cement space also came in from Macquarie. However, there are neutral ratings only. But then a lot of action we saw in stocks which are probably could be inclusive in FNO. One such stock was Geo Financial, 8% it was up, and the buzz is, of course, it could be likely be included in the FNO segment. A lot of action, I'm sure, on the brokerage side also. In fact, Navratna status, the PSU stock, they were also scaling high today.
Absolutely, but before we get to that, let's also talk about the move we've seen in Nifty. 13th consecutive session of gains coming in for the Nifty and 4th consecutive record high. So there seems to be no stopping for the Nifty at least. But like Priyanka mentioned, broader markets were not aiding support. However, Nifty Bank recovered more than 200 points from the day's lowest point, also majorly led by Axis Bank on the back of their fundraising plans, and also the brokerage note that gave a thumbs up to Axis Bank in today's trade. More than 1% higher is where that stock is closed for the day. But well, yes, let's talk about some Navratna status stocks. And you have NHPC and Railtel that were in focus because they have been granted the Navratna status by the government. So those stocks did pretty well in today's trade. Apart from that, also Nifty, Pharma and IT hit their record highs individually. However, Pharma did not manage to hold on to those gains. And after Nifty Metal, it's your second highest top sectoral loser in today's trading session. Both Nifty Metal and Pharma, in fact, trading with cuts of 1% in today's trade. That's how they have shut shop for the day. However, Nifty IT did pretty well, held on to the gains that it had inked at the start of the trading session. But if you shift focus and take a look at some other gainers and losers in today's trading session, MOIL was a big loser on the back of the price cuts that they announced. NCC had an order win, so that stock held up smartly. Dr. Reddy's was in the negative today because the Chinese drug regulator has suspended import of one of its hydrochloride drugs. NBCC on the back of 2 news flows, an order win, as well as a 2:1 bonus issue. That stock also did pretty well for itself. In fact, decent uptick coming in 0.5% higher is where that stock ended the day. But we also have to talk about ET Now exclusive, where UTI AMC stake sale is in focus and Tatas have emerged as the front runner. And we'll be getting you more details on this as well. But let's discuss the day that we saw on the markets today with our technical expert Mileen Vasudeo from Arihant Capital Markets. And Mileen, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us on the show. Well, 13th consecutive day of gains for the Nifty, 4th consecutive record high. You know, a month ago we had technical experts and even fundamental experts telling us that a deep correction is in sight. But if you take a look at the moves we're seeing just 1 month after that major mayhem that we saw on D Street, you would not imagine that something like a correction is on the cards after this. So what's your view here? Do you think we're going up, it's too much too fast? Do you think there's going to be a slowdown next, or do you think this momentum is going to sustain?
Good afternoon. If you see the Friday's trading session, we had opened up with a gap, and the gap area was in the range of 25,192 and 25,199. So the gap area was a little bit less. However, this gap area clearly reflects that the sentiments in the markets are still positive. Though today, in today's trading session, we have seen the breadth of the market was in the favor of declining counter, but not the gap was not wide enough. Definitely, but we are of the opinion that stock-specific activity is likely to continue in this market. Now, in tomorrow's trading session, again, we are of the opinion that 25,200 would be for the first hour. If it sustained 25,200 levels, then again you could see an upside momentum towards 25,350 to 25,500 levels, which we are continuously mentioning. We are working out with the target of 25,500 to 25,800 levels. Even if you see Bank Nifty on the weekly charts is trading sideways for last 5 to 6 weeks. We are seeing a sideways move. But today, if you see, Bank Nifty has reclaimed the 50-day SMA. This gives a picture that yes, Bank Nifty also can move on the higher side. Bank Nifty for tomorrow's trading session has got a good support at 51,400 level. If it holds for first hour, then again you could see Bank Nifty heading towards say somewhere around 51,900, 52,200 in couple of days time. So we are positive, and one should adopt a strategy of a buy and decline strategy in this market.
Apparently, you answered my question also, Mileen. I wanted to ask you that, it has been hovering around 50 DMA now since it's crossed it. Could there be a fresh short covering rally? But then we already answered it. Looks like that maybe the heavyweights will have to do a heavy lifting here, ICICI Bank or HDFC Bank, to get us the new highs. What are you eyeing at this point in time? Would you pick from something from large cap, or broader market will interest you? Your two recommendations.
One stock which we are liking is PI Industry, currently trading at somewhere at 4578 or 4580. The close is at 4580. One can keep a stop loss of 4487 on the higher side. We expect 4847 and 4960. It can be achievable in couple of weeks time. The second stock which is showing good sign of accumulation is AB Capital, currently trading at 228. One can keep a strict stop loss of 217 on the higher side. You could expect this stock to rise towards 244 to 253 levels.
UTI Industries and AB Capital have made it to Mileen's radar. On that note, Mileen, thank you so much. We'll let you go. Thank you for sharing your outlook as well as your stock recommendations. But in fact, let's keep it going with the expert voices on the channel. Earlier in the day, we caught up with Rana Gupta, Senior Portfolio Manager, India Equity Specialist at Manulife Investment Management, and he shared his outlook on various sectors. He believes rural consumption will pick up pace while telecom and cash flows are at an inflection point. Let's go across and listen into his rationale.
Now we believe, even if you look at the GDP data, we believe that is turning slowly but surely. There is some uptick in consumption, including rural consumption. It will be a well-paced gradual recovery. Industrials part of the economy, I think, will continue to hold up, but incrementally the stocks, given the valuation they're trading at, they might run out of triggers. In this kind of a scenario, we like the place where there is chance of cash flow inflecting. We think telecom is one sector where the cash flow are inflecting. We think in the consumption, particularly the real estate linked consumption plays, whether it is pipes, cables, wires, white goods, that's also another promising sector. And as we already discussed, one of the other ways to play the consumption coming back is to play the non-banks, which are also very exposed to the rural sectors. and also the larger banks which have suffered due to the liquidity tightness in the recent past.
All right, so rural consumption, telecom, as well as wire and cable. This is what is Rana liking at this point in time. Moving on, but on the tracking trends and technicals, after months of underperformance, banks, especially private sector banks, could be seeing signs of turnaround. This is what Kunal has to say. Kunal joins in with Nikunj on that analysis, a special insight. Let's see that.
We're essentially looking at the relative index. And relative is the word which we look at that, in last 3 months, Nifty has given you 15% return, but in last 1 month, it's a return of less than 2%. So optically, all-time high, technically, all-time high, but in terms of the momentum is clearly missing. Now, Nifty is always a sum total of some sectors.
Absolutely.
So for Nifty to do well, those sectors have to do well.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about it.
So yeah, I think perfectly summarized, Nikunj, that what we have seen in the month of August is mild recovery for sectors. I'll give you a snapshot. For example, in the month of July, there were almost 11 sectors out of 14 which we have discussing that the index or the sectors had closed with a positive performance, and the average gain was around 3% to 5% for these sectors. Come to the month of August, the gains in sectors is just 7. So even though the index has moved up higher, we've made a new high on the index, but looking at the sector strengths have started to deteriorate. So for example, the auto index, which was one of the better performers in the month of July, it's closed negative for the month of August. Pharma, FMCG, IT, the top 3 performers, which had done almost 9%, 10% on average for the month of July, they have come down. Their gains are just 2%, 3%. So which means that the markets is lacking strength in terms of sectors. Now, what this could actually mean is that going forward, say for the month of September, if we assume that the same trend continues where you see lack of sector strength for many of these sectors, then the pace of rally for the Nifty could slow down. Like what we've seen, 12 consecutive days of positive, but just 4%, 4.5% gain for the Nifty. So if we manage to see another, say, 10, 15 days of positivity, but the pace of rally could slow down significantly because of the sector strength lacking.
So if the bank Nifty is showing outperformance, that's 35% of the index. That itself can take care of the Nifty.
Absolutely. So the only case over here which could change is because we're seeing some green shoots which are now in the private sector banking names and metal stocks which have started to stop falling. So the underperforming sectors, the banking and the metals, they were huge underperforming over the last 3-4 months. They have started to show signs of at least an arrest of the underperformance. Now that should convert into these sectors starting to outperform. That could be the only point where we may see that the pace of rally could increase for the indices.
Okay, so it was last 3 months have been nothing short of breathtaking for benchmark indices, 15%. Last 1 month has been decent considering the global cues were bad.
Correct.
And we had bout of volatility. You've come on the right side of the trade. But will September be a flat month with a downward bias?
I strongly believe that it will be a flat month with a potential downward bias in the second half.
Okay, and that's what we're looking at. Optically all-time high, technically all-time high. So direction is up, but the momentum clearly seems to be plateauing out. And I'm using the word plateau. Plateau means that flat. That does not mean it is reversing.
Correct.
So a little bit of here and there, markets may just hang in there, but in terms of an upside, the upside momentum surely is getting capped.
Some interesting insights being spotted and some good trends being highlighted by Kunal and Nikunj. But on that note, we'll slip into a very short break on this edition of Your Trades. We'll be right back to discuss more about the trading day that was. Hi there, welcome back. Still watching Your Trades on ET now. Let's take a look at the FNO activity in today's trade, how the derivatives have shaped up to be. And first up, for the September expiry on the Nifty, we saw a mild short build-up coming in. So slight bit of a pressure is being seen building up on Nifty, but as of now, not much to worry about. And however, flat moves being seen on the Nifty Bank. If you take a look at India Wix was above, near that 14 level thereabout. So that's where the India Wix stood today, and there you have it. In fact, a 5% spike coming in on India Wix in today's trading session. So that is also something to watch out for. Now on the call and the put front, active calls for the 5th September expiry, call writing was seen at the 25,300 and 25,400 levels, making 25,400 your next resistance level to watch out for. And on the flip side, when you take a look at the put unwinding, that was being seen at 25,100 and 25,200, making 25,200 your next support level to watch out for. So 25,400 on the resistance and 25,200 on the support are the key levels that you need to be spotting on the Nifty.
All right, so that means it's a wait and watch to at least for Bank Nifty, where the trend looks flat right now. But then some signs are there that maybe it's moved near 50 DMA. Let's get you the top story of the day. The board of Gujarat Gas has given a go-ahead for a scheme of arrangement and amalgamation involving the likes of Gujarat State Petroleum Corporation as well as GSPL, Gujarat State Petronet Limited. They both will be merged into Gujarat Gas. Now, it will be in a phased manner. Let's go across to Somit, who covers this sector, to understand the rationale behind the move and how this can add a potential value for shareholders.
Well, a big corporate action that has been happening among the Gujarat-based gas companies. So it's GSPC, GSPL, GEL that will be merged with Gujarat Gas, and post this merger is completion, the transmission unit will be carved out and separately listed on the stock exchanges, and it will be named as GSPL Transmission Limited. This entire process is expected to take at least a year to complete because it's merger of 3 companies into 1 company plus a demerger of another company coming out of the total merged unit of Gujarat Gas. Now, what is the merger ratio here? GSPC will get around 10 shares of Gujarat Gas for every 305 shares held in the company, and GSPL shareholders will get 10 shares of Gujarat Gas for every 13 they hold. Now, GEL will not get anything because the financial contribution coming in from GEL is literally nothing at this point of time. Hence, there won't be any share issue to GEL. Now, this valuation, this share swap ratio indicates a premium that GSPL shareholders will get, because if you see the 10 shares of Gujarat Gas, they are valued at close to 6,067 rupees, while the 13 shares of GSPL are valued at close to 5,750 rupees, which means that there is a premium of nearly 5.5% that GSPL shareholders get. Now, GSPC is currently an unlisted entity. It is primarily involved in gas trading company. Its average trading volumes were close to 15 MMSCMD, while its average annual net profit over the last 5 years stood at close to 1,300 crore rupees. Now, what is the rationale or the logic behind doing this merger and demerger? Firstly, the business synergies, efficiencies and scale of operations. It was also to simplify the holding structure that is currently there, and also a value unlocking is one of the key reasons behind this corporate action that Gujarat government has taken up. Now, amalgamation of GSPC into Gujarat Gas would eliminate the related party transaction that has been currently happening, where Gujarat Gas purchases gas from GSPC, and this could also enhance the operating profits of Gujarat Gas going forward, also benefit its return ratios going forward. Also, amalgamation of GSPL into Gujarat Gas and then the demerger would simplify the layered holding structure. Currently, if you look at GSPC is the holding company which owns close to 37.6% stake in GSPL, while GSPL separately owns close to 54.2% stake in Gujarat Gas. Hence, to simplify this structure, this corporate action is being taken over. Also, this deal is EPS accretive for Gujarat Gas by more than around 50%.
Cash flow generated by the combined businesses can be deployed more efficiently in future to fund organic and inorganic opportunities which are going to rise in the expanding energy market.
The valuation which we have taken for GSPC is close to 21,000 crores, and of that, close to 35% is with respect to the gas trading business. Basically, the valuers have taken a number which is a lower number to the industry average which is there, that our peers which are there is lower than that. Basically, if you look at our previous year EBITDA number for gas trading is around 1,100 crores. So if you compare the number with respect to the multiple, it's little bit lower than the market which is there. Its multiple is around between 6.5 to 7. That's the multiple we have taken. If you look at the industry benchmark, it's around 8 to 9. That's the. And I think we have taken a reasonable number. We have cash to the extent of 2,300 crores. And we have valued other businesses, that is GSPL and our other investments, is close to 10,600 crores, of which GSPL is close to 89% of the total valuation of other investments. It would range between 50% in encourages would be there, increase, because the entire gas trading business is coming into GGA.
Okay, that's the word coming in from the management of GSPL to understand the rationale behind the consolidation in the business structure that they have undertaken. But let's also take it across to my colleague Gaurav now, who is joining us on the show with a list of all the stocks that were big buzzers and movers in today's trade. Gaurav.
Well, yes, let's begin our list with NCC because this company has won a large order worth 1,236 crore rupees. This order is going to be completed in 30 months and this order is from the irrigation division, and as a result we saw the stock was trading up in trade today. Next, let's talk about NBCC because this company also won an order worth 182 crore rupees for construction of the residential building in Assam, and that is why we saw this stock was also trading up today. Next, let's talk about some of the Bajaj holding companies. So we have Bajaj Holdings, Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv. All the stocks were up in trade, and the reason being that Bajaj Housing Finance is coming up with an IPO on September 9th, and being a primary beneficiary, these companies were also trading up in trade today. Next, let's talk about some of the companies which are buzzing on the back of the monthly update. So first, let's talk about Coal India because there we saw some weak set of numbers. So production and coal sales went down almost by 12% on a YY basis, and as a result we saw some negative reaction on the stock. We also have Info Edge because Jobs Peak Index actually reversed some growth in the month of August. So we saw the Jobs Peak Index was down almost by 3.5% on a YY basis and 11% on a month-on-month basis, and as a result we saw some negative reaction in this counter as well. And lastly, let's also talk about Bajaj Autos because there we saw good set of numbers. So two-wheelers sales were up almost by 18% on a YY basis, and if we look at the domestic sales for two-wheelers, those were up almost by 40%. Overall, when we talk about two-wheeler and CV sales, those were also up almost by 16%, and as a result we saw Bajaj Autos were up in trade today. So definitely watching out on all these counters on the back of the update that we have received on these companies today.
Thanks very much, Gaurav, for all that list of stocks. Bajaj Auto has been clearly has the right to win also, in the way the numbers in two-wheeler segment is growing is, of course, taking the stock to higher levels. Now, moving on to an ET Now exclusive news. Top institutional shareholders in UTI AMC have revived a proposal to sell their equity stakes in the mutual fund. Sources inform that Tata AMC has emerged as a front-runner, as a contender seeking to acquire their collective holdings. And if successful, the deal could be worth $800 million. Anurag Joshi joins it with more details. Over to you, Anurag.
Top institutional shareholders of UTI Asset Management Company have revived a plan to look at a proposal to offload their equity stake in the mutual fund. Tata Asset Management has emerged as a front runner in the transaction, sources tell us. Now, last year, Tata Asset Management had looked at UTI mutual fund, but the transaction did not go through because the talks had stalled. Now, if a successful transaction does take place, the value of the transaction for the 45% equity stake that the institutional shareholders of UTI AMC are likely to put on the block will be about 6,700 crores. So that's $800 million. Now, these institutional shareholders are Bank of Baroda, LIC, PNB and SBI. Punjab National Bank has the biggest shareholding among them, and this followed by Bank of Baroda, PNB and SBI, who have roughly about 10% equity stake in the company. Now, Tata Asset Management has equity stakes of Tata Sons, which owns 68% in the AMC, while Tata Investment Corporation owns 32% in the asset management company.
Okay, thank you, Anurag, for bringing us those exclusive details. On that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Your Trades. Thank you so much for watching.